know, and we went through to you. So I've updated my thing, so.
But my Gmail address is different.
Right,
So-
right, yeah, that's why you didn't get it, it was my fault on that, but the two Judys, they also didn't get it. And I have the addresses that they responded back to me, so. Go figure. Hi, Ron.
Hello.
I don't know that I needed to print these, but I did.
I printed them too.
Oh, man.
I'm trying to think. I'm not sure my brain can work.
Well, the RCI stuff and the budget stuff is what I'll be presenting, and I will explain it as I go. So you don't have to worry about that now.
Do we, RCI, we always get a proposal. Do we ever get a bid?
We can. And get a actual bid from them. And that's something else I'm going to address too, is even with these proposals, material prices have gone up. So my recommendation is we go back and ask them to rebid it.
The reason why I asked that is because with the bid, when they go to material yards or whatever, and they get a price on equipment or material, they lock that price in for a certain amount of time.
Right.
So normally with a bid is a bid and they have to come in at that price. And we seem to always be going over $4,000 or $5,000 and I don't understand why. Because normally, if you go over what your bid is, you have to come back before the board and say, unless it was an emergency, like they hit a water main or something like that, they have to show why that was over. And it doesn't usually get paid until it's approved.
The overage?
Yes.
Oh, that's good.
See, I know you were asking about the Lexington bathroom remodel. And see, I don't know if that actually went over what their proposal was.
It did.
Because
What you paid them was, it did.
I think I still came up with the 16,000. Look at that again. That's why I'm trying to computer so I can pull up my records of.
Because if it's just material cost or whatever, they have to honor that bid. And if material raised within the amount of time, then that's on them. They should have locked it in. You know, so, and if there's something they have to do extra that was not, because if it's not included in their bid, then they have to come back and say, we need to do this, this, and this, and they need to get approval before they do it. So it just seemed like everything we did with everything.
Okay, because I watch it and they were looking like, to me, they were coming in as we had, hi Lori, hello. There's that. But if we don't talk about it after this is over, let me pull up my chart and we can look at what we.
Well, because they said, when we did the thing in Lexington, it was 16,000 something, they said, well, let's set aside 20,000 because they always
Oh
pay.
my God, they're testing him.
Well, yeah.
And the last meeting, that's why I asked, were these choices?
I've had it, I've been vaccinated, so we're Golden Valley, but
Right.
he just can't function right now, so hopefully he'll get better.
So yes, in the budget,
least he got a
we were
letter from
unworked
work.
because.
Floor work.
We allowed 20,000, but the bid was 16.
Right. And they.
But I went back and looked and I don't think it was actually, see, this one says a fixed price.
Mm-hmm.
But normally you get a bid.
Right, and we can,
That's why I said.
tell them we
yeah.
want a bid, not a proposal.
Stop playing.
Because the proposal's kind of, and.
Well, that's right. This is a ballpark. This is what we think it's gonna cost.
It could be more,
Could be more, could be less. And,
Like October, maybe.
Okay.
oh, it is.
I'm going to call the meeting to order.
Kirby was not showing up.
Georgia has got an ailment, so she's not gonna be here. I received an email from Amanda just before I got here. She's gonna resign. She just doesn't have time to commit to the board anymore, so. We have an
So she's
open.
gonna quit.
Amanda's quitting, yeah, effective now, so. So we do need to,
Okay. I'm sure we'll find somebody from Lafayette County.
yeah, so everybody's here. That's one of the.
So we need to get somebody from Concordia.
Allison coming?
Allison,
She's on.
Allison's on the phone, yeah.
So Allison is on the phone, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, I don't have my. Okay. Anita, do you want to take a roll, please?
Yes, we have Allison Burton on the phone, Fern Deathridge.
Here.
Arlen Dillon,
Here.
Lori Dodson, Georgia is absent, Ron McMullen, Amanda Travis, we know, Judy Tyler,
Here.
Scotty Walker,
Here.
Judy Walter.
Here.
Hey,
All right. Do we have any public comments?
No, we don't.
And I just, in case nobody heard me, Amanda sent me a resignation this afternoon just before I got here. So we'll need to find a replacement for her. Consent agenda items.
In the minutes,
yes,
they're for the consent agenda, on page 4.
uh-huh,
And I know, this just, typo. We had a vote taken,
uh-huh,
and it says there were 5 ayes and 0 nays. I
uh-huh.
think that should be, let me see, Ron McMullen voted nay, Carlin Dillon voted nay.
Well, sure enough. I am so sorry. That is a typo. Yes, I will correct that.
No problem, I just,
Can't even see
So
that.
3, yeah.
no,
So it was 5 yays and 3 nays.
right.
Thank you for catching that.
I did like the shorter minutes. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I like them better too. Thank you.
How many people are viewing via YouTube, Kyle?
I have 9 people right now.
All right, thank you.
Absolutely.
Any discussion on any other consent agenda items?
I make a motion that we accept the consent agenda items.
Second.
Motion and a second to accept the consent agenda items. Take a roll call vote.
Allison Burton,
Yes.
Fern Deathridge, Carlin Dillon,
Yes.
Lori Dodson, Ron McMullen, Judy Tyler,
Yes.
Judy Walter,
Yes.
Scotty Walker.
Yes.
Passes with, what is that, 8 yays, 0 nays.
All right, unfinished business. First off, the Concordia Parking Lot.
Okay. I left on everyone's tables, you should find 3 papers. One's stapled, and that is the page 10 through 13 of the narrative of the fiscal year 2021. And I want you to look on the last page, the back page under capital expense. And what I want to talk about is the Concordia window replacement, as well as the Concordia parking lot. So first is the Concordia parking lot. In the budget that was passed back on August 26th of 2020, we had allotted $20,000 for to redo that back parking lot. So that was what was budgeted and what was approved. And
We voted no on that.
it was in the Concordia, it's in the budget.
I don't-
So,
Because it was due to like liability issues that we needed to make sure we redid the parking lot. I was under that impression.
well, and that's why I wanted to bring it up, in that I wanted to make sure that the board was still behind me, that yes, we need to do this, and it's spring, Anita, get started on making this correction. We put it off because by the time we could get the contractor, then it got too cold to pour asphalt, and they said, Anita, do you mind if we wait until spring? And I said, that's fine, let's wait until spring. And then now that it's spring, I wanted to make sure it was still okay to do. And I also wanted to say the price of asphalt has gone up. And so the $9,705 that they are proposing, I would like for them to go and refigure it. I'm asking permission. If it comes under the $20,000, can I go ahead and do it? I want them to refigure the price because the price of materials, I'm sure everyone has heard, price of building materials has skyrocketed. That if it's under the 20,000, can I go ahead and still do it? Or do you want me to bring it back to the board for another approval?
Did you say this was approved in August?
Yes.
Okay.
I remember asking about it, whether it was a liability issue, because
Right.
I thought if it's just staff parking back there, we could probably leave it alone.
Mhm.
But you said that, and I was told that patrons
Mhm.
park there too.
That is true, yes.
I thought we voted against it when we passed the bathrooms in Lexington. Or we put it on
I
hold,
think the bathrooms were they were earlier in the summer.
maybe.
I think that the Lexington bathrooms and the parking lot were all in the same,
They were approved in the fiscal year 21 budget under capital expenses. You can see Lexington ADA project, that was their bathroom project.
Well, this is under 10,000. I can't imagine it doubling.
I can tell you asphalt, I think, has gone up about 25%. So I just don't want to say, yes, go ahead and do it. Okay, it's gonna be more than this 9,000. I want the board to be aware of it before I do this. I want to make sure it's okay.
and we just find out the new price.
It's gonna take time.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I can tell him,
Been that way for a long time.
Mhm.
I mean,
So I guess I was asking, I would find out the new price. If it was under the 20,000, can I still go ahead and do it? Or do you want me to bring it back to the board?
we approved 10,000?
We approved 20.
Well, if we approved 20.
And if it comes,
The bid was, the original bid for 9,700.
yes. 9,700 and,
20 if it was only 9,700.
because at,
Budget.
I don't think we knew at the time. We had a bid after we approved.
right, we had got the bid after and Tanya figured it high.
Whatever the board thinks, I mean.
I say yes.
I'd say yes, as long as it comes in under.
20,000. You want a motion?
I want a
I-
motion.
I,
I would like a motion, I guess I should.
Make a motion that the Concordia, not Concordia, yes it is.
Yeah, it's good.
Parking lot, small pad, the requested updating, and as long as it is still under 20,000, which is budgeted for it, then you go ahead and accept it.
I second the motion.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? So this isn't something that is urgent. Right?
It's not what, I'm sorry?
Urgent.
No,
Plan.
I understand, but it's not urgent.
but our fiscal year ends in June. So if we want to spend the money in this fiscal year, there is a bit of urgency to tell them to go ahead and get started so they can be done in June, preferably early June.
So we just need to vote, right?
Yes, I have a motion and a second on the floor to get an updated price.
she's wanting to get an updated bid on it. And if it comes under what we budgeted, to go ahead and go with it. And that's what we got a motion for in a second.
Right, I said we're just waiting to vote.
Yeah, I'm just asking
Yeah.
for any further discussion, and then I'll call for the vote.
Okay. Allison Burton,
Yes.
Fern Deathridge,
Yes.
Carlin Dillon,
Yes.
Lori Dodson, Ron McMullen,
Yes.
Judy Tyler,
Yes.
Judy Walter,
Yes.
Scotty Walker.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes with 7 yeas, 1 abstention. Okay. The next RCI is the Concordia window replacement. Lori, I know you haven't seen the pictures of that, but they had some water intrusion that got underneath the paint in the window well, and the paint stretched and all of this. And then if the temperature got below 30 degrees, they would have frost on the inside of their windows. So we went to the RCI and said, what would it cost to fix this? Once again, Tanya put in the budget $20,000. So that's what was budgeted for the Concordia windows. It came in at $13,190. But here's the twist. I have talked to Debbie right after that bitter cold weather in February, and then I double checked with her tonight to make sure that nothing had changed. This winter, she has had 0 frosting on the inside of her north windows. She has had 0 water intrusion, even with these current downpours.
From the south.
Well, yeah. But still, there was a lot of water, a lot of rain, and she's not having any water intrusion. The frosting is not happening this winter. She said it's almost like someone has come in and fixed it, but we can't explain it. So my recommendation would be not to do this project.
Put it on hold and see what
Or
happens.
put it on hold. We can put it back into next year's budget, 2022's budget, in case it were to happen.
I would take a motion to put those windows on hold.
I'll make a motion that we put it on hold.
I'll second that.
A motion by Fern and a second by Judy. Tyler, is that correct?
No, Walter.
Walter, okay. I have a mask on, I can't hear. Is there discussion? None appearing, I'll call for the vote.
Okay. Allison Burton.
Yes.
Okay. Fern Deathridge.
Yes.
Carlin Dillon.
Yes.
Lori Dodson.
Same.
Ron McMullen.
Yes.
Judy Tyler.
Yes.
Judy Walter.
Yes.
Scotty Walker.
Yes.
Okay. We have 7 yeas and 1 abstention. Okay, so those sheets we can set aside. Thank you so much.
Okay, next up is further discussion on the ADP payroll timekeeping proposal. I had, I was not in favor of this, and you'll see in the minutes that I voted no. At least I think I did, but.
Okay.
My reasoning is that I felt like this should be something that a new director should tackle. Maybe the new director has different ideas. And I had an occasion, I called the auditor about something different. And just kind of out of the unplanned, I asked her about this. And she told me, she said that she had told Tanya that she did not think this was necessary, that she thought that we could continue with our local accounting service. And that this was actually, she did not like the idea of this service. She thought it was too expensive, and that we should review with our current bookkeeper what they can offer. I called Paula Elliott Accounting and talked to them. Of course, I didn't know what questions to ask, and she didn't know what answers to give. But she said, yeah, they probably could do that, but they would like to have a discussion with us concerning this particular system. And I would just like I'd like the board to discuss this further. I still stand by my original thought, even before I talked to the auditor. I feel like this is something that should be taken on by our new director, whoever that would be.
Well, I voted no against it too. And my reasoning was, I agree that they do probably need a better system than what they have. I agree to that. But I feel like we went from log cabin, cooking on a wood stove, to living in a mansion and having maids, and I feel like we jumped a whole to the top of the line program. And I also had a problem with it going out of house, like there's no oversight. When you use a local accountant, I feel like you have some oversight, and if you send everything out to someone, you have none. So if there is a problem, you may not realize it till too late, and they're gonna have access to everyone's bank accounts, the library's bank account, and that's a lot of, I don't know, I just feel kind of, I know a lot of big companies use those kind of services.
Well, I think there's some advantages to having a whole complete system like that one, that you can also use not just for payroll, but that you can use it for training and for benefit administration and stuff. I have been in a company where we had a central office and a lot of branch offices. And I know that when you can present things to people online, they all get the same information. Where if people are trying to do it one at a time, one person gets told one thing and somebody else forgets something else, and it just helps to be consistent. And it's easier to keep everything lined up. The way I understood it, it was not just for payroll.
But
No, I think it was for insurance and
And
And a lot of other
when you're
things.
dealing with a lot of different people and a lot of different circumstances.
I would just reiterate that our auditor, who is an independent, was not in favor of it.
I don't know why the auditor should have anything to say about it, actually.
Did she say there was a problem?
I think it's pretty good advice to have our auditor say that this is not a good idea. Let the new director,
Well, the auditor may know that they're getting what they need from that. But that may not include a lot of other stuff that gets taken care of.
but we may bring in a director, I hope we bring in a director who is financially competent. We haven't had that for 2 directors yet.
Well, I think Tanya knew enough to know what was
But
needed.
Tanya also wanted us to hire somebody in-house, and when I was talking to the auditor, she mentioned that too. She told Tanya, there's no way you can afford to hire somebody in-house when you've got somebody like our accounting firm that can do that for you. That's just my feeling, is that if we're getting advice from an accounting financial professional that is not in favor of this, that told me that she would not be in favor of this, I think that we should take that advice, or we should at least consider it.
Did she explain there was an auditing problem with this ADP, or there would be financial problems?
She thought it was too expensive and that we could probably get the same service from our accounting service that we already use.
Excuse me, may I speak, please? This is Karen Shern, may I speak?
Yes.
When I spoke to Laura Gillum about this, and it just happened to come up because I called her about something else, the reason why she was not happy, the reason she told me about the fact that she wasn't happy with us going with ADP at this time, was that she was afraid about the W-2s being split. And we have found out since then that that would not be the case, because we would upload everything that the system needs to know up until the point that we launch. But that was the reason why she explained to me why she wasn't in favor of ADP. Now, what she told you could be completely different, but
She wasn't at
when I
all.
spoke to her, that was the thing that she was the most concerned about. But this is a company that's like worldwide. They do that. They don't wait until the beginning of the year for people to launch. They will take whomever, whenever, as long as you can pay them. And so therefore the W-2 situation that we discussed is not even an issue.
She also mentioned to me that the split W-2s, that wasn't her only concern.
Well,
I asked,
I-
I asked her to come tonight, but she said she couldn't come to discuss that. She told me I was welcome to use her name, but she couldn't come and discuss that with us because that would take away her independence as an auditor. So I'm just sharing my thoughts on the whole matter. My thoughts were the same as they were last meeting, that I don't think we should do something like this until we have a new director in place. And then that's just my belief is reinforced by the fact that we have a financial professional advising me the same. So,
Well, did any of our bookkeeping or our tax people look at this program? Did they have any input into it?
To my knowledge, no, they would not have any say, because they would be the competition.
Is there a program that is like can do the insurance and the training and that kind of stuff and not do the payroll?
Not to my knowledge.
It all has to be together.
The thing is that with ADP, it does more than just payroll and insurance. It also does HR. One of the benefits of this is that it gives the branch managers more input, and it gives them the authority to make changes to their schedules. It allows them to schedule. It gives them the autonomy to go in and change the schedules. It gives them the PTO information for their people right off the bat, as opposed to everybody having to come to me to get that information. And also what happens is that we would upload everybody's information from their HR files, which they have the right to have at any time that they request it. Unfortunately, the people out in the branches would have to come to Warrensburg to see that information, even though they have the right to have the information or to see the information in their personnel files. And if we have ADP, they would have their own account where they can go in and look and see what is in their file without having to ask anybody for it.
Well, at this point, we've already put it on hold, so if we put it on hold, fine, but I think it needs to be addressed.
I agree.
I'm not saying this doesn't need to be addressed. I'm just saying that, well, I've already said Lex, the auditor of the library did not think this was a good idea and thought it could be done differently.
Well, the auditor is not the one that's dealing with those benefits and training and stuff, so from the auditor standpoint, it very likely is okay.
But the auditor is also a taxpayer. The auditor is looking at us spending $10,000 for something that probably could be done differently. We have libraries that aren't open, but yet we're going to spend $10,000 on.
Well, I'm not saying that we can't go along just like we always have. I'm saying I don't know that it's the best choice.
I agree with.
I would like to visit with our current accountant to see.
Well, there again, it's an interest of conflict of interest.
To visit with our current accountant to see if they can offer us more service than what we're.
I don't think an accountant is going to offer human resource.
But was the accountant asked?
No, I just, in my own opinion, I just doubt that they would be able to do that.
Well, we don't even know what other programs they looked at,
That's
because we were just given this. We weren't given anything else. So I don't even know, I mean, to me, this sounds expensive, but I don't know if it's expensive or not because I have nothing to compare it to other than just our accountant and the service they were using, which the service they were using was like practically nothing.
I have a question for Karen. Hey, Karen, this is Lori. Hey, do you have some more, do you guys look at some other options besides ADP? And if so, I feel like you probably understand the concern that some of the board members have as far as spending that money. Is there any other options that you guys would consider at any point in case they don't pass this for you, but they still want you?
Well, Kyle can jump in. I can't remember the other one that we looked at because we looked at two. But to be real honest, the prices were practically the same. There wasn't much difference between the prices.
We actually looked at a variety of different services. The two that could actually deliver the kind of functionality that we wanted were ADP and another company called Payroll. And Payroll was within $1,000 per year of ADP, but they were actually higher. I don't have that number directly in front of me, but they were actually higher than ADP.
Is there any way that you could look at a separate system for the HR part and keep the auditor for the financial part? Would it be cheaper? Is there anything like that?
You can do the training part of it separately, but I don't think you can do the benefits part of it separately because that stuff has to be deducted from payroll.
Right. And all goes together, doesn't it?
Yeah, it kind of does.
I would say that whatever we choose, if we're going to do this, we need to get something that's going to do everything. Otherwise, it isn't going to be efficient, and we're going to be in the same situation that we're in now, and still shelling out a whole lot of money. So whatever we decide to do, it needs to be able to incorporate everything that we need and keep it all consolidated.
Am I correct? Do I remember correctly, Karen? This is not under a contract, correct?
It is not.
So it could, like, we could use it for a year and come back and address it and see if we liked it, if it worked well, if it did everything we want, if it was worth the money or.
That's correct. And in fact, I also did ask because I kind of anticipated it's so different from what we're using now that it was a little difficult for us to even compare our system that we use now because again, so much of what we do now is on paper. So to even have a point of reference was a little difficult. So with the thought that we may want to reevaluate this later, I did ask both companies how easy would it be to get our employee data back out. And they both did have an export function that we can get all of that information back out. I also did that for the reason of we have state law that we have to follow as far as retaining records for personnel and things like that. So relying on a third party is not suitable. We would have to maintain those records ourselves. So, but they do allow us to export that data and we can maintain it ourselves. So both would meet that need.
Because a new director could come in and say, I don't care for this program at all and want out of it. I mean, we just don't know.
Well, then let's wait for the new director, but don't forget about it.
Did you all look into Kronos at all? Kronos, Karen?
I wasn't in on that. Maybe
I
Kyle
was
did.
gonna say, yeah, that does not sound familiar. We looked at several, but to be honest with you, it was quite a while ago. And we were, yeah, this was during the midst of our shutdown and coming back up. So we had decided that we were going to look at Paycor and ADP, and it's been long enough ago. I remember there was another one called Timekeeping. I don't remember Kronos being one of them.
Okay.
That doesn't
That's
sound
what
familiar.
Yeah, I'm familiar with Kronos. They do all that kind of stuff. So I was just wondering if you checked into that. I've used that for 3 years at the hospital, Golden Valley. So they do all the clock ins and insurance and all that stuff. So I was just asking.
Sure.
I didn't know.
Well, we can do whatever the board wants to do. I just brought up this because of my concern that we weren't told. We didn't have the information that there was ideas, there were thoughts that this was not a good idea. So whatever the board wants to do, that's, we can vote on it, move on.
May I speak again? This is Karen Churn. The reason why you weren't told that at the time is because we didn't know. It wasn't until after the board meeting that I spoke to Laura.
So we voted to get this program last time,
Yes.
5-3. So technically,
President overrode us.
okay,
No, I put it on pause till I could share the information that I got from the auditor. I felt like the board didn't get all the information, so I wanted the board to have the entire story, not just the sales pitch.
so then do we need a motion to see how the board feels about putting it on hold?
You can make a motion to go forward with it, put it on hold, to override me, whatever you want to do. I've given you the information that I obtained, so you can, use that information however you feel best.
Well, and I did vote no against this, but I feel like the board already voted it in. And maybe we should put like a time try on it. The new director can come in and we can change it. I mean, we don't know how long it's going to be before we get a new director.
It will
I
never be changed. I'll just say that. This will be forgotten as soon as we decide.
Too much work to try to.
Pull out once you get in.
Yeah. I just let it go for right now and then see what the new director says, but I just have worked in that field and I've dealt with benefit administration, and I know that having good software makes a big difference.
Yes. And like I said, I agree. They do need something better than what they have. I do.
And
I just don't know if we need it to the tune of $10,000. Like I said, I don't know what it costs though. You're talking about a lot of training, a lot of bookkeeping.
It would probably, if it's used correctly, it might eliminate a position that would pay for it.
Yeah.
Or it might eliminate more than one position. But I don't know that that's necessarily a bad thing to save money.
Whatever they want to do, they voted for it. If we're going to table it, then we just need a motion to table it for now. I move we table the, whatever.
Judy made the motion, you just have to second it.
Oh, I didn't actually make it. I was just
Yeah, I didn't make
saying
it.
that we had actually voted it in place.
So I don't care what we do. But we've probably discussed it, but all we need to. So,
well, why don't we just vote to confirm our decision or not confirm our decision? I just wanted to present the board with information that I learned after we voted. That had we had before we voted, maybe the vote would have been different, so.
Is there another use for that money that we're just kind of holding back on? I mean, is there a plan for that other money to be used for something in particular, or are we just kind of saving it up, or what's the use for this money that we have to do this?
Oh, no, we have a budget, and this is an
Right.
add to the budget.
Okay. but I
So
didn't know
this is
that-
an added expense into our budget.
It's gonna go into next year's budget.
Yes.
So, and we're just now starting to work on next year's, which is fiscal year 2022.
One of the things too you all should know is that if we do go with ADP, then the money that we spend on our accountant will be cut in half, because they will only be doing half of what they do for us. So we would save about $4,800 a year with that,
How much per year?
about $4,800.
48, you said?
Yes, because we pay them now for the reports that they do for you all, the financial reports, as well as our payroll. They do our 1099s, they do our W-2s, all of that costs. And if we get another system that we can do all that in-house, and so they would just be doing the financial reports for the board.
But ADP's charging for all those services too. It's not just a
Yes.
$10,000 fee, correct?
Yes, they are, but the thing is that you're not going to be paying the accountant as much.
So that-
So
So we're transferring that fee from one firm to another.
basically, a part of it anyway.
You're just gonna take that $4,800 and you're just, so you're not paying it to the accountant, you're gonna be paying it to them.
Exactly.
The $10,000 was what? A base fee?
No, that's the entire,
That's
$10,000 was the annual fee.
no, that's an estimated fee. That's an estimated fee because they charge per employee.
But what do you get, what do we get?
So
from
by the
$10,000?
by the employees we have, that's the estimated fee.
That's
If we
correct.
get more employees, it'll be more. If we lose some, it'll be less.
That's correct. And all the documentation that Karen was just talking about is included in that fee. So W-2s, 1099s, all of those tax documents are included in that fee.
Okay, I make a motion that we don't do anything at all and just go forward with the vote we had last meeting.
It's me.
I don't know if the president can make a motion, but I just did.
That we do what now?
I make a motion that we just,
you don't make them.
Yeah, why do we need a motion? We're just saying, we're going to vote on it, so we aren't going to change it. We can just say, hey, we accept what we, we're going to go ahead and follow through with what we voted on.
all right.
I think that's what we need to do. We're just going to follow through what we voted on last month.
All right. Search committee have any report? Ron and Fern, I don't know why you can't get into that, but I'm going to,
Well, I don't know either, but
Yeah,
I have been unable to get into
yeah, my
the
wife been trying to get into it, but she said she
email box to see
just gonna have to
the
go,
things.
she's at
But
school,
Scotty
huh?
says we only have
Okay.
two
try to figure out how to get into it.
okay. Engineer committee report.
I have the sheet of paper in front of you all is the listing that we've been provided by our consultants. There's 8 somewhat local, nothing Warrensburg or any of our branches, of course. But the letters and the request for bids will go out to these 8 people, and hopefully we'll get a good result, turn back as far as what they can provide for us, which is due back on the 15th of April. We agreed last month.
So are we gonna meet after the 15th?
The committee will.
The committee has to meet in between them coming back and before the board meeting.
Right.
So-
And then we will present at the next, or the April board meeting, what we have.
Okay, so do we need to get with, Norm and, Tracy because they were gonna help us rate these?
They
Just
will
that-
see them just as we do, and we'll rate it from there. And we'll include that in our report. Is that what you want?
No, I thought we were gonna meet with them via Zoom to get together and rate them together. So understand what,
That was what I understood.
That's what I
He's gonna
understood.
Kind of guide us on that.
Well, I didn't understand that the whole board was going to rate them.
no, the committee,
It's the committee. It ain't us.
just the
So we
committee.
would meet with them by Zoom or
Yes.
some other facsimile there and come back to the board with our assessment of the whole situation,
Okay,
with the names that we, and how we rated them. And like I said, hopefully we'll get,
well, is the committee gonna meet here at the library and Zoom with them, or is the whole meeting gonna be Zoom, or?
the committee will determine what availability we have as far as electronic. I can't do it from my house, so I would obviously come in here to get the help from the experts over here.
I gotta do that too.
Yeah, me too.
You're shaking your head, no. You're needed, Luke.
He was touched that you called him an expert.
So that's what I'm saying. Do we need to set a time for the committee to meet and to coordinate with Norm and Tracy?
We'll do that, yes.
And you'll let us know?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'd like some input, you know. It's like the week before that, I'm like max to the wall with appointments, so.
May I jump in real quick? I'll be mailing out to all the engineers on this list, correct?
Correct.
Would someone send me the final copy of the documentation you want to send out?
You sent to us.
But weren't there,
Correction.
yeah, there's red, aren't there blanks that need to be filled in?
Well, they were basically the dates that you and I had discussed that we already had.
I guess what I'm saying is I don't want to be the one filling in the
Oh,
dates and stuff. I don't want someone to go, Anita, you're wrong. You can send it to
Nobody
me.
would ever say that.
So is this something that the whole board has to approve, or is it just the committee?
I think it's just a committee unless the board is in.
I mean, it's already been through our advisors and our lawyer.
We voted that we would use Norm to help us make that decision, and I think everybody seemed okay with that.
Right,
And
and this
helping
was the
with us.
corrections he sent, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Anything else on the engineer committee?
I just need to make sure I have that info. Did you say it was an email
Mm-hmm.
that you sent?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll look again.
Okay.
And then I can do that somehow.
Okay.
With the
Okay.
dates on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's just the dates that we need it back. So
Right,
you can put the
right.
15th on there.
I think so.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, yeah, and then I can just email it back to you.
Absolutely. That'd be perfect.
Do that.
Thank you.
I'm pretty sure that was the day we said they had to be back by the April 15th.
April, because it was tax day.
Mhm.
Yep.
Right.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that. And if I don't have that email for some reason, I will let you know. 'cause I
Yeah,
don't have
just
your
let me,
email address.
right. Perfect.
Oh. Next up is staff report, and that's, I have, Karen, are you still there?
I am.
I have a question. In your staff report, it says that there was some late payments due to the board meeting being delayed.
That is correct.
What kind of payments were those?
Well, the one that we have so far, and they're still coming in, is the the rentals for our copy machines. We got charged $114 late fee.
Okay. So
Now,
Michael,
I changed you might see in your report, your financial report, that there may be some duplicates for card services. And that is because I knew that we were going to have an issue with the delayed delayed board meeting. So what I did was I wrote a separate check incidental as opposed to general and had it sent out early. So that one will be, that check will be voided in next month's meeting. I mean, next month's report. But, you know, again, with some of our vendors, you know, I've dealt with some of them for a while. They don't care what our situation is. If they don't get paid on time, they are going to charge us.
and so my question is there a, like, for instance, the copy machines, that's a contracted service.
That is correct.
We made a commitment in the beginning. So do things like that have to be board approved, or can they just be paid because we've already budgeted for that?
Well, the thing is that we used to pay a lot more bills auto deduct, but that was one of the, and that would be fine, except that there were certain things with our auditor in which she did not want us to auto deduct. Now, I can get with GFI and see if they will do auto deduct, and that would be fine. I don't have a problem with that. But as far as like our credit cards and stuff, which we used to do auto deduct, Laura is saying that's not good, and that we need to pay that by check. And then we have some other, like some of our vendors don't do auto deduct, and so we have to pay them by check.
Would it benefit the library, this is Judy,
Yeah.
if Scotty and I were to get a hold of the checks that we are contemplating paying a late fee on, get them signed early and out the door?
We can't do that because you have to have the board approve the financials.
What I'm asking is, overall, is there some way that we can, like Judy said, set this up to where things that we're already committed to, not some surprise expense that, you know, just popped up, but things that we've already committed to, is there a way that we can get those paid prior to the board meeting?
I guess we can do that. You know, the bottom line is, I think the only way that we could get that done is to write incidental checks. And then because I'll be sending them to you, to sign, then that would be fine because you're the board president. But when we have the director who also has the ability to sign incidentals, we don't like to have the director sign. We don't like the director to sign too many checks because we do need the board approval, and we certainly don't want the director signing checks that are over a certain amount of money. We have to be able to maintain the checks and balances. But if you're giving your approval, all I need to do is write an incidental check and have it sent to you for your signature as the board president. And that's the way we can do it. And then, you know, there will be fewer checks to sign from the general fund that you do on board night.
Could you change the due dates?
And that only happens when we delay our meeting, correct?
Well, we have it all kind of set up where everything revolves around the third Wednesday.
Right.
And so, yes, if everything works fine, then we're all good. But if there's any kind of delay whatsoever, it throws everything off.
So this would be a rare situation because we postponed a week last month because of weather, I believe, wasn't it?
Exactly.
So,
and it's not
so
like
this
there
would
are
be
a
a
whole
rare
lot of,
situation. Pardon me?
it's not like this happens very often, but
Right.
when it does, it throws everything off kilter.
I just want to do whatever is best and legal and transparent to avoid paying late fees.
I understand that. As I tell people, I treat library money like it's my money, and I am cheap. I don't like paying late fees in my personal life, and I certainly don't like it for the library.
Well, technically, Karen, it is your money.
Well, but you know what? No, it's a little bit of my money.
Yeah.
It's just a wee bit of my money. But you know, anybody who knows me will tell you that I am very frugal with library money. And I want to make sure that it is done properly. So when we get late fees, trust me, I am not happy about that.
Would there be any way to change the due date?
If we need, you know, I think that the only way, because everything is working, this last month was an anomaly. If we leave everything as is and hopefully there'll be no more delays, then we'll be fine. But I think the only way that we can make this work, if there is a delay, is to write an incidental check and have Scotty sign it. And we've already set up where he will be signing checks, incidental checks, until we get a new director who is on all the accounts. And I think that that's the only way we can do it. Short of, if we can get on auto deduct, that would be fine too. We do most of our utilities auto deduct.
So does that work for everybody? This will be a rare occasion, but just to avoid late fees. And then I don't know, do we need to make that as a motion or just a consensus, or?
I mean, as you as board president, I think that it's, you know, you're the one who's signing them, and it would have been Tanya otherwise. So I think with you signing the checks, you have the authority to do that.
All right. Well, let's just do it that way going forward. If there's a situation to avoid late fees, we'll have whoever is responsible make sure those incidental checks are signed, and we'll avoid the late fees. Is that okay with everyone? All right. Staff report. We don't have a director's report this month. So I would just like for Anita and Kyle to, and I don't know, is Sarah here? Okay. If you can just let us know what's going on with the library, anything we need to be concerned with, how is reopenings going?
Well, if you want me to go first. Oh, okay. How about if I go first?
Okay,
My
sure.
facilities?
That's
Okay,
fine.
if you don't mind. Of course, you all have read what happened in November. Good Lord. In February. Maybe some updates, you'll get that in my March report. We do have an issue with the Holden front door. We're having trouble with the keys unlocking it, but it is under warranty. We've let the company know, and they are sending somebody out to fix it. We don't know why, but the key is just so hard to turn. It isn't natural. The commercial toilet in Odessa, the insides of it doesn't work. So one restroom is out of commission. They have two others. So Billy and I are looking at, and the decision I have to make is, do I want to try to fix it in-house and see if Billy can fix it? We'll have to buy some new tools. We'll have to buy the entire guts of the thing. Or would it be advantageous to hire a plumber to do it? So we're kind of working on that. I lean both ways. We're also starting to gear up for the mowing season. We're working on the lawnmower and the weed eater, and we're going to be getting a weed killer, and Jimmy's going to start working on that when he gets back from his vacation. my report about the HVAC system that completely died and looked like it had flames on our roof. It was, anyway, it completely died. It did get installed in early March. So the Warrensburg building is back up to all their HVAC systems working. As of today, the knob noster sump pump decided it didn't want to work anymore. So first thing tomorrow morning, I'm sending Billy out to unclog the sump pump. The knob noster sump pump is a constant battle. We work with it every hard rain. Probably what the board isn't aware of is that we are doing staff trainings or refresher trainings. So every other Monday and Tuesday, 3 or 4 staff come in and they're being refreshed on Evergreen, on technology, how to use the phone system, going over the staff website so that they know where to find forms and policies and kind of all that. That's going really well. That will actually end in May to get all of our circulation staff through those kind of trainings. So, and branch managers, that's true. Anybody who works circulation is going through those. So that's kind of what's happening in my world. Does anybody have any questions? Yes.
I always have a question. I noticed it in the checks, and I noticed it in a couple other places, and it was mentioned in the meeting last month about Orange Boy. And I'm going to be right honest with you. The first time I heard about Orange Boy was last month at the meeting. That's the first I've heard about it. I have no idea what it does, what it's supposed to be about, anything.
Okay. And I will turn you over to Kyle because he actually works with Orange. I believe you work with Orange Boy, don't you, Kyle? Or is it Sarah?
I do a bit. Sarah's primarily the one who is,
okay.
is involved with that. And as luck would have it, she's not here this evening, but I was involved with reviewing it whenever we first signed the contract with them to use Orange Boy. Essentially, Orange Boy is a tool that we can use to process large amounts of data about our area. So for instance, they pull in demographic information, census data, geospatial data about the area. We can get, socioeconomic information, education information, things like that, so that we know we have a better understanding of who it is that we're serving. We also feed into that information from our ILS. So we know some information about folks that are frequently using certain kinds of services. So if they're checking out a lot of print materials, if folks are attending programs, if people are using electronic resources, things like that, we can get a better idea, a cross-section of kind of who is using what services. And I say who, it's not, a lot of it is anonymized data. So it's not as though, we're really drilling down and getting into people's backyards or anything like that. But it's more just to give us a more well-rounded impression of the area. And that is also who is helping us with our strategic planning right now. So the folks who have been contacting our patrons via email to fill out surveys and give us their feedback for the future of the library and their communities. That's all being kind of spearheaded by some of the folks at Orange Boy.
Well, I'm kind of lost because was this something that was presented to the board at some time, or was it? We actually signed a multi-year deal with them some time ago. This was actually while Rochelle was here. And so, it was a multi-year commitment. And so Sarah, sorry, I'm watching the chat. Sarah also mentioned additionally email marketing targeted for patron preferences and customizable reports that we use for our grant funding. That's also made possible through Orange Boy. So they provide
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Carlin, I didn't catch that. What was that?
So they provide you with data that you use in applying for grants and things then?
Correct. Yes. Yeah. Among other things, like Sarah said, we can also. It's really kind of nice because we can send an email, for instance, to everyone that we know is a frequent user of electronic resources, and kind of target new pushes for if we have more items in our collection, or if there is a specific thing that we think that they would be interested in. We can just target those folks rather than sending it out to everyone and kind of frankly annoying a lot of people that never use those services. Sometimes it's good to make sure that gets out to everybody because we want everybody to know that those services exist. But there are also strong arguments for making sure that information goes directly to the people who are most likely to utilize that and to be responsive to that information. So that's kind of what that information is used for. I'll be honest with you. When we signed the multi-year agreement, that was something that this is a tool that other libraries had recommended to us. Cass County Public Library, for instance, our neighbors, they use it pretty frequently, and they use it to great effect. And we've had conversations with them about how they're using it. It's as we have had different directors. I can't say that Tanya was necessarily a huge fan of it either, but we do have a multi-year agreement, and I would say whoever is in that role in the director's chair when that agreement ends, we'll probably we'll need to definitely reevaluate things so that if it's something that they feel has been very useful to us, then we can continue. If not, then it may be something that we experimented with and its time is over. So
is it a fee that we pay yearly?
Yes, we have an annual fee.
Is it broke out quarterly or?
It's an annual fee. I think the reason that you may have seen a recent check for them was the strategic plan work that they're doing for us was an additional charge on top of the data services that they provide.
Oh, so that charge was on top of what we normally pay them?
I believe so. I'm sorry. I'm also trying to keep up with Sarah's messages. She says she came around after the amount of grant funding we were able to secure from the reporting. Not sure. Not sure I'm reading that at the right time. Maybe she submitted that whenever we were talking about something else. Sorry.
Because that was a pretty substantial payment, I believe. I'm trying to remember where I saw it.
It was. It is not. Their services are not necessarily inexpensive, but the process of writing a strategic plan is a pretty complicated and time intensive one. And if we end up with data that we don't think is useful, it's certainly something that we can reevaluate and not repeat.
Is the public going to be involved in strategic? The last time we wrote a strategic plan, Karen Hickman was director, and she involved the public. Are we going to involve the public this time around?
Yes. So there have already been surveys sent around to cardholders, and Sarah just shared some of that data with me the other day. We haven't closed those surveys yet, so that will be something that we'll share. They were supposed to be getting in contact with the board members individually to interview you all. I don't know if they haven't done that. We may need to get back with them and make sure that happens. But the other thing that they will be doing as well is they're going to be organizing some focus groups in some of our communities and making sure that we have folks there that are stakeholders in the local communities that we know are users or are potential partners. And again, I'm trying to keep track of Sarah's comments. The additional fee is for the travel over the months and the time of their staff conducting the focus groups, interviews, creating the survey, and compiling results and planning. There will be public stakeholder meetings. All board members should have received a survey as well. They will be contacted in April with the board, the focus groups folks.
Okay, thank you, Kyle. Like I said,
You're welcome.
this first I had heard of it and I had no idea what they did or anything. So thank you for clarifying.
Absolutely, absolutely, not a problem. Okay. So are you done, Anita?
I am done, Kyle, if you want to go ahead.
I was going to say, and Scotty, if you're wanting to keep to a time schedule, I can choose to, or I can treat Orange Boy as my reporter. I can go ahead and brief you guys on what's going on. I don't know what what everybody's patience level is right now.
I just have a quick overview of anything that's been going on since.
Okay.
Make sure everything's going smooth.
Hey,
Sure.
Kyle, I did have another question, Kyle.
Okay.
And it's not this report, it was last month's report. It kind of stuck in my mind and I didn't have a chance to ask you last month. You said that you met with the managers.
Yes.
The branch managers, and you said you hadn't been able to do that for a while. Was there a reason why you hadn't met with them? Was there
I forget the context of that particular comment. I know that there were, so normally what I do, I'm sorry, Fern, were you trying to help me out there?
Oh, sure, I have it. Let me see.
It may have been because of the virus.
That's what I was wondering, but he had just made a comment and it just kind of stuck in my mind and I wondered why.
Was it about the one-on-one meetings?
Yeah, you said you hadn't been able to meet with the branch managers in a while.
Okay,
it was good.
so okay, yeah, that's a good point of clarification. So what we have been doing is since we had the shutdown last year, since that started, I started meeting every week with the branch managers on Wednesday mornings. So actually, I think that day has changed periodically, but anyway, it's been once a week in the morning, and I will meet with all of the branch managers, and we do it virtually with GoToMeeting. And I started doing that, I don't know, it was maybe 2 or 3 weeks after we shut down, when it looked like it was going to continue for a while, and I needed to, have that contact with them. So so that has continued until now. I'm still, in fact, this morning we met and talked. That has been really beneficial, I think. I think a lot of the branch managers have enjoyed that. I think if that comment was related to the one-on-one meetings,
I found it. It says, this was your report. It said on January 27th, we held our first all managers meeting in quite a while. The meeting was virtual, but was still very beneficial to have the branch managers and department heads in the same meeting to communicate. So if it was just because of COVID, that was just,
yes, that is it. That's the kind of in a nutshell. Yes, it was due to COVID, and we have still met, but that particular kind of meeting with the department heads and the branch managers together, that one had not happened in a little while. So yeah, that's what that was. Yep.
Thank you.
Sure,
So
absolutely.
When are we going to get our libraries open?
Well, we started with browsing on March 1st. So I actually touched base when I talked to the branch managers this morning. I asked them, and this is something that, is maybe a promotional or a marketing, informational issue. What we started doing a while ago with the appointments is that as long as they have room in their building, as far as, we're trying to keep occupancy down a little bit, but as long as they have room in their building and they have time available and all of that, we are allowing people to just come right in. So when people just show up and they don't have an appointment, we do allow people to come in, again, provided that we are below that maximum occupancy. And I realize that's not exactly the way that we're communicating that to people. The reason that we're still letting folks know that we are requiring appointments is so that we can have those conversations about what our our requirements are, what our safety precautions are, and things like that. Like, for instance, just reminding folks to make sure that they bring their mask and that kind of thing. That's often a much easier conversation over the phone than if somebody comes all the way to your branch and left their mask at home, or if they're bringing kids with them. We can talk over, hey, we need to negotiate that extra occupancy. And 9 times out of 10, I asked them this morning. I said, guys, are you turning anybody away? And they all said no. They said everybody that's showing up, they're able to get in. And somebody did bring up, one of the branch managers did bring up the issue that since we're still communicating it that appointments are required, there may still be people that we're not turning them away, but they're just not coming because they feel like that's a hassle, and appointments are not something that they want to deal with. So I can understand that, and I can understand where that's maybe a communication issue that we may want to deal with. Sorry, I'm trying to also read. Sarah's mentioning something. Oh, yes, and I did want to. Yeah, I should have mentioned that. Laura Parent and Sarah both posted about this on Facebook. Let's see. Plan to continue. Sorry, I'm just going to read her comment. She just said, we just posted about this, it this week after Laura mentioned it to me. We plan to continue posting so it reaches more people. I spoke to Woody on KOKO this week to deliver the same message. So we're trying to get that out to people that the vast majority of the time when you just show up, usually we can serve people on demand. It more gives us the opportunity that if we are at maximum occupancy, then the staff do have that flexibility to say, I have an opportunity for you in say 15 minutes or whatever. If you want to come back, I've got an appointment available then. We're trying to give the frontline staff as much flexibility as possible to be able to kind of make those calls as they have room or don't. But again, I told them this morning if that changed, if they started ending up with situations where they were turning people away, or that they felt like in their community the demand was getting higher than the occupancy was allowing, that we needed to revisit it, and please to make sure that they let me know that, because then it takes on a different tone, right? It's if people start showing up and they aren't able to get in, then that's a different circumstance. So far that hasn't happened. But yeah, that's kind of where we are with that. Okay, so real quick, like I said, I'll try to get through my report in fairly short order. And Sarah did give me quite a bit of information. Some of the other folks in admin did as well, so I can bring everybody up to speed. For those who didn't know, we did have a winter reading program in the last few months to kind of have a similar program to our summer reading program, but obviously in a different season. Throughout the program, we did hand out 500 postcards via curbside throughout all of our branches. 78 of those were returned by patrons who had completed the program. We didn't require registration or anything like that, so it's possible that more people completed the program, but those are the ones who returned them for a prize. The prizes that we offered included things like tote bags, mugs, most of those are branded, books, prize books, and bookmarks, among other things. One particularly lucky patron in Concordia who completed the program won a drawing for a Google Chromecast. So we like to, offer at least one kind of big prize to, increase engagement and help reward folks that are participating in these programs. Planning for the summer reading program began quite a while ago, but it is definitely ramping up now as summer is approaching. It'll be here before we know it. Performers are being scheduled for various dates throughout the district. I just saw a set of emails this morning. Sarah was confirming with some of the branches that certain dates would work for them. One of the performers, actually, some of you may be interested to know, is our former courier, Paul Landkamer. And all of the branches are really excited to have him come back out. So we're excited that Paul's going to be able to do that. We are looking to try to schedule those, as many of those as possible, outdoor, so that and a lot of course that would match Paul's repertoire perfectly. He's our bug and outdoor guy, so that's gonna match him just perfectly. But try to make sure that we're providing that in a way that's safe and accommodating to everybody. Oh, and Sarah just mentioned in the chat also that we did receive a $7,900 grant for those programs through the Missouri State Library. So that's something else another little feather in our cap for our summer reading programs. Deanna Schuler, the librarian at our Leeton Express branch, is working with Sarah also to schedule Missouri author David Harrison for an author visit as part of our partnership with them to provide summer reading programming in that location. March 25th is the first outdoor event with Wills, which is going to take place in Knobnoster. And there we hope to circulate to some of the folks that Will serves and the folks that we can get information out to. Some new devices that we've talked to the board about before, I believe. We had a donation of 10 iPads and 2 Chromebooks. So we're hoping to get those in the hands of patrons so that those can be used for whether it's recreation or hopefully, folks looking for job placement and training and things like that will also make use of those. The next Wills partnership event will be in April at John Knox Village East. Technical Services is working hard to continue getting more new materials out to all the branches. They recently did complete the RFID project, which is already paying dividends in the area of collection maintenance. Nate Byrink, our technical services supervisor, is estimating that with the help of RFID and a new tool that we got for him called the Digital Library Assistant, which is kind of it's sort of like an inventory or a stock gun. If you've ever seen anybody at Walmart or wherever, scanning the shelves and looking to see how much stock they've got in the back, that kind of thing. It's similar in size and shape to that, but we can use it to inventory our materials. And he's estimating that we can complete an entire inventory of one branch in a day, basically, which is something that previously, with the help of branch staff and admin, best case scenario, that was going to take several days, if not weeks, to complete an inventory of an entire branch. So that's going to be a huge time savings for us and free up staff to, again, continue getting those new materials out, branch staff to provide programming and outreach and things like that. So hopefully that's going to be a great help to everybody's workflow. And the inventory to each branch is just a routine collection maintenance task. We weren't able to complete all of those last year due to complications related to COVID. Lastly, I wanted to mention some things about the IT department. This might be of particular interest to the board because it will be accompanied by some expense. So I wanted to give everybody some heads up that this was coming. The IT folks which they're in attendance tonight, so they could always jump in and add some more detail if you guys have questions. But they are completing specs and soliciting quotes from vendors for a variety of new hardware. Among those improvements planned include new servers and network attached storage. This equipment will replace servers that are very outdated and no longer supported by updates and security patches by the manufacturer. The existing servers that we have are from around 2003 or 2008, respectively. In addition, quotes will be solicited for staff and public machines to replace obsolete or failing machines. The total number replaced will depend on the budget remaining and quoted prices. So that's my report. Anybody have any questions?
Yes, I have a problem. This is Judy.
Sure.
Trouble. I had a personal frustration this last week with the packages. First of all, I got the call late on Thursday saying that my package was at the library and I could pick it up, give them a notice. My son-in-law was coming through town, so I had asked him to stop and pick it up on Friday. Duh, they're closed on Friday. Saturday, they're only open limited hours. Sunday, of course, we're closed. Monday, we're closed. So I was fortunate enough to have my daughter at my house on Tuesday, who was able to go in to pick up the package after I talked to Laura. Not only should we open up the libraries more, but in consecutive days, we don't need that many days off. I don't know, you probably don't know it, but I can't drive yet, so.
I've got to agree with you. I've got so many contacts with Lexington patrons upset because the library is not being open
Right.
on Monday, like they always were. That now they're, they're closed on Monday and all that. And they're very upset over that. And I just think it's ridiculous that we're spending all this money other ways, but we aren't keeping the library open when they're paying all the tax dollars. Thanks. I moved, I don't know if I can or not, but I moved all the libraries go back to regular hours like they used to be a year or so ago.
And I think that the branch manager should have more say in the hours that they are open. I mean, there's no reason to be closed Friday and Monday.
Well, I just think they all should be open regular hours like they always have, well, for many years. Instead of closing them and using the money for other items.
Have to add it to the agenda next month. You'll have to add it to the agenda next month.
Well, Scotty said,
I told Ronnie he could bring this up under discussion, so,
Okay.
I mean,
that's right. I don't have to, it doesn't have to be on the agenda. If you all don't want to vote for it, I just made a motion that we go ahead and tell the head honcho that all the libraries should be open for regular times like they always used to always be.
Are you talking about still kind of monitoring how many are in the libraries at that time, but still having the days, the normal days open?
Have normal days, normal hours, but I mean, still 10 o'clock, not back to where it used to be, but they open at 10 and thinking the regular hours they have now, except on Mondays, they're open from 10 to whatever.
And Fridays.
Well, our library is open on Friday. So I'm saying all the libraries, Holden is off. I think all the libraries should go back to the same hours they used to be, but not at 9 o'clock in the morning. I mean, starting at 10 o'clock like they have been, but going the same day, all the same days and things that they always do.
And it should be according to the community. Like I said, the branch managers should have some say in what they want to do.
Well, and I got a lot of community people talk to me very upset. And I'm not going to talk about my branch manager, but I don't talk to her, but I don't want her to have any trouble.
No, but that's the whole thing. They're the ones that make the decision.
So I don't think, they have told me that she would be happy to have it open like we used to have.
I agree.
I think that we do need to get back to some, that's not to say that we can't monitor how many people are in the building at a time.
Yeah, but three people in the building
No,
besides the
yeah,
monitor is a little ridiculous.
I agree, that's, I agree that maybe it's not time to bring back children's programs. It may not be time to bring back children's programs, but I think we could be open, for people.
And even they just hand them out the door, but right now they're starting to open and soon will be. Lexington, for example, down has stopped at mask and all that. But anyway, I just made that motion. I don't know whether anybody's seconded it or not.
Looking at the people that are using curbside services, people aren't. I mean, Waverly, 3%, Odessa, 11%, Lexington, 13%, Newcastle, 9%, Holden, 6%, Porter, 4.5%.
Because it comes down to that appointment thing
That's what I'm
again.
saying. People, we're not reaching people with the make an appointment and.
Well, not only that, but they say they need to make an appointment. Well, a lot of people think, oh, an appointment, that's a week away. And it's not, it's right now.
Whatever.
Come on in.
So we have a motion and a second. Can you give me that motion again?
Ron moved to open all the branches like last year, regular times, 10 o'clock to whenever.
Whatever they were.
Whatever the normal hours were.
Porter wasn't open, they were open 9 till.
I think we're gonna have to have a more specific idea of what kind of hours we're talking about, because we've changed hours so many times recently. It's difficult to know, when you say like they used to be, we've just changed them too many times recently. So I feel like we need to have some kind of a proposal or a schedule of times to say, this is what we're gonna approve or not approve. I don't know.
Could staff bring that back to the board next month and say, here's our proposal of the new hours? And,
Nobody does.
So what are
They want it done.
What are the hours?
I got a lot of people very upset because it's
Staff
not being
is
done.
not the one to do it, it's the branch managers.
Yeah. And always
staff
been
as
open.
an administrative staff.
Right.
That
They open at 10 o'clock and they go every day. One day they go to 7 at the evening. You all know what time it always been.
How about we word it like this, pre-COVID hours?
Right.
Mhm.
I mean, if we have the staff to support that and they're willing to continue monitoring safe distancing per whatever our county, recommends, then I feel like that's a good thing. But
So-
pre-COVID would be
Like
what it was
before
before.
Normal.
changes happened.
Yeah.
Yes,
Before
yes.
COVID.
Yeah, the hours we had before COVID.
Yeah.
Well, but
Even
Well,
before that.
I think it should be
Depends on
consistent.
where we got, she's the one that closed everything.
It should be consistent with every branch.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have Noster closed on Monday and Fridays and Holden is closed.
I feel like they need to have some control over that though. If they open at different hours in Noster and they close at different, those people are used to those hours. I don't think they're asking, the other towns are asking.
Pre-COVID, everything was open at the same time. They weren't?
Doesn't need to be, because that's not the way
They're
the towns
not.
work.
I thought Odessa was closed on Monday. I had asked Tanya for a listing of the pre-COVID hours that had been put into effect on May 1st, 2019, I believe. I don't have that with me because I asked her for that a couple of months ago. But every library had their own schedule of when they wanted to be open. I think the librarians and so the branch managers themselves had asked for specific,
Well, they were
Time.
told too that they were not to be in
Right.
these hours.
they only could be open so many hours per week. Their hours were shortened. But if we could just go back to the pre-COVID hours, because that's what people have become used to, and those were consistent, but they're not consistent through all of the branches because every community is different. And Porter and Waverly are open 30 hours a week, whereas Warrensburg, of course, is open 50. at
They only
least,
have
probably.
staff for what they're open.
We're gonna
And
do
so
the
if
staff.
we just go back to pre-COVID hours,
Yeah, 'cause we used to, I think Lexington used to be like 54 hours, wasn't it? Something like that. We were up to
Yes,
60.
yes, because Lexington got more than
Yeah.
Holden and
Yeah.
Noster, which were.
I think we went to 4, so we open at 9 o'clock in the morning and go to about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And on Tuesday or Thursday, we go to 7, from 10 till 7 or whatever.
So just say.
so what I have is
Pre-COVID hours.
Ron moved to open the branches back to the pre-COVID hours. Is that?
Well,
That's a start.
that's the start, but you probably know, did Lola, did she
no,
cut the hours before the
It was
COVID?
No.
Rochelle,
it was Rochelle.
Michelle cut it before the COVID?
yes.
So then I say we go back to regular hours where it used to be.
When Karen was here.
Huh?
When Karen was here?
Well, yeah, when
Are
Karen was
you
here.
wanting,
All the way back. That's why I'm thinking, could you allow staff to meet with the branch managers, discuss the hours and come back next month with,
No, I don't want the staff. We're going to make a decision on what they're going to do. I don't want the staff to determine that they get paid and don't have to work.
Get paid and don't have to work.
Yeah, some of them don't show up every day and they still get paid. Never mind, whatever.
Because we've got all staff back working full-time. I mean, not full-time, I mean, they're working their hours and they're getting paid for their hours they work.
Sometimes the hours they're getting paid for, the library's closed.
Yes. This is true.
In Waverly, the library closes at 3 o'clock on Friday, but Amy has to stay to 5 to get her hours in. So if we say go back to February 1st or something like that.
Well, that's what she's saying. We don't know what the pre-COVID hours were, for sure.
Weren't enough.
So are we talking about when Karen was here, or are we talking about before COVID, or?
As I recall, the hours started getting messed up when Rochelle was here because of the upcoming increase in minimum wage. And that's when we started cutting back.
And their minimum wage is gonna keep going up.
Right.
We'll cut back on.
But we're spending a lot of money on other things.
Yes.
I think for now, we should go back to pre-COVID hours. And if we want to visit it again a little later to find out what the
We can do that.
pre-COVID hours were, we can do so.
So if we go back to what COVID hours, would that mean that Lexington Library will still be closed on Monday?
I'd have to go look and see what pre-COVID,
I don't think.
I don't think so, but I just want to make sure it's not closed on Monday.
and
I don't think,
we would,
I'm not sure, whatever, it shouldn't be closed all those days.
That's a whole.
You know, the patrons are upset, they're paying the taxes and they have to think, and I got a lot of people, patrons have talked to me, they aren't even getting books from the library, they're going to Richmond, they're going to Carroll County, they're going to other places, because they're fed up with the way the library is being done.
so can you,
A comment here, if Holden goes back to pre-Rochelle hours, we will need to hire another 19-hour staff member to cover all the hours.
This is true, because they lost a position.
Because they got rid of them. Just like I'm sure Lexington, one of them.
That's right, Holden did give up a
Holden
position.
gave up
Yeah.
a position, but there are other branches that have too many people.
I think branch managers should have a say in their hours.
I agree, and they should be the primary input.
Yes.
I didn't hear that. What was?
The branch manager should be the primary input as to what their hours are going to be.
Yes.
They
But,
know staff and they know their patrons and they know their community.
but I don't think that there should be multiple days closed. I think that,
I'm sure they won't do that.
I think the majority of days should be open.
Right.
Well, let's
sure
go back to
branch manager will do
pre-COVID
that.
hours, and then if something doesn't suit, we can fix it next
Yes.
month.
Well, you have to make sure you got staff to open it.
We've got robots now to check out
The
books.
staff are there, the
Have there
library.
been a lot of people that have left the branches, do you know? Is
No.
that something we can
You
find?
mean patrons?
No, I mean the workers,
No.
Well,
management staff, so.
when we had to cut the budget, Holden gave up a staff person.
Just one,
Yes,
okay,
119 hour.
okay.
and some hours was cut.
That was in 2019.
And there was another another branch that gave up a staff too.
Now, there is, because we're gonna have, if we're changing back to these hours, we need some time to work with the branch managers to make sure that they have the staffing. And we also have to get the word out to the patrons. So it's not something that we can start this coming Monday. So we need some time. which is why I was saying, could you give us until April, next board meeting, so that we can say, this is what we want to do, and you guys can go, yes, that's exactly what we want to do. Or do you could say, no, this is not what we want you to do, go back, let's make some changes, and we can all be on the same page. So when we roll it out to the public, we're only doing it once, and they're getting all the information.
Well, I think we need to be clear. We can't just say, go back to pre-COVID. We need to be clear what those hours are, and we need to be sure that we have staff to open during those hours, to open at those hours. And like she said, you can't just.
If we don't have staff, we need to hire staff. We're spending buckaloos of money for other things. I'm sorry.
But do we always have to have, at all times, do we always have to have multiple people in the library?
For
Have to like what?
safety, yes.
Do we, at all times, we have to have multiple people in the library?
Maybe not Quarter and Waverly, but because they are small. But for safety reasons,
I disagree. I think there's times when one person can, I'm not saying one person for 8 hours at a time,
right,
but I'm saying that, 10 o'clock till 11 o'clock, one person can be there, or whatever, and maybe if 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock is a busy, super busy time, but I think that there could be a time somewhere where one person could be there.
And there again, it's
And if
the
people are
branch
hurt, they
that
just
makes
go
that
over and just one of
decision.
your little robots to check out.
Well, they also stand back in line and wait until they get up there, just like you do in license bureaus and a lot of other places. You got all kinds of people in line. You got to stand, wait, apart to get up there. That should be the same way at library. We just have one person in there, librarian, several people going in and get books, or ready to go in and get books, and they just have to stand in line until they get up there.
What I'm saying is you can't just say, wave a magic wand and say, Monday, everything's going back to the regular way it was. It's gonna take some time because they're gonna have to schedule, they're gonna have to make sure they've got enough staff to open at those times. It's gonna take a little bit to
I'm
do it.
willing to bet today is Wednesday, by Friday, they'll have the schedule done. The branch managers will. They're that anxious to get their people back in.
I don't know. I'm just saying, you just can't wave a magic wand and happen.
Waving a magic wand. We're not going back to these hours on Monday, like Anita said. But within 2 weeks, we should be up to full speed again, and they can do that gradually.
I don't think we would have to wait a month, but whatever everybody else thinks.
I personally, as an administrator, would like for the board to see this is our plan, so that we're not changing it every 2 weeks if you don't like the direction we're going in.
The direction you're going in should be like it used to be.
Well, but
The same hours.
But that's
every
not
day.
very specific.
Yeah.
because what I think, this is what used to be, you may sit there and go, no, that's not what I was talking about at all. And so that's why I'm thinking, give us some time to get it in order, let the branch managers work on it too, and bring it back to you and say, this is what administrative staff, which that's Kyle and I, and branch managers, this is what we're proposing. And you guys can say yes, or you can tweak it, and then it can roll out pretty darn quickly. But we would have a plan. We'd have a plan.
A lot of the branch managers aren't gonna do except what you all want because they're afraid they're gonna be fired.
That's right.
I've already been through this
That's
several
what
times.
happened
Not
last
even
time.
our local one, but a lot of other libraries are concerned if they do anything that's not appropriate for you all, then they're probably gonna be fired, gonna be released. That's why I don't think you should be talking to the librarians to see what they wanna do, because you'll tell them what you want done. I'm sorry.
In fact, last time it went out that it came from us.
Well, yeah.
I think we as the board need to realize too that what we do as a board, we can let them do a lot more than what we're allowing them to do.
Well, we've always said that.
We don't
Yeah.
have to be on
We
top
agree.
of everything that they do.
We
So,
agree.
Sure. Well,
Because the branch manager knows their situation,
Right.
their people, their town
Right.
better than any of us.
We can't be everywhere at one
Exactly.
time, so if, if Quarter opens or Waverly opens at a different time, that should be their time. There's people in the library that know what their hours were pre-COVID. It's as easy as a phone call. You know what I mean? I feel like we can get this is a lot easier than we're making it right now, is what I'm saying.
I have a copy of the email that Tanya sent me. They were pre-COVID hours.
Right.
They were not pre-May 1st, 2019 hours. They were between then and March of last year. So, but I have a copy of the email. I just don't have it with me.
That's what
Well,
branch managers are for.
Can we make a motion? Could we make a motion that the board requests that we go back to pre-COVID hours and that administration works toward that?
I like that. They know what they're doing. They know how to get the people back and moving, just like.
What do you think, Ron?
Administration and branch managers are completely different.
How about if we make a motion that the board wants them to go back to pre-COVID hours and we request that the administration work toward that goal?
And I don't remember what the pre-COVID hours were.
Well, I don't either, but
They were Rochelle's hours.
Huh?
Rochelle's hours.
Oh, pre-COVID, Rochelle didn't have anything.
No, but she had cut their hours so much before that.
Well, if we go back to where we were before COVID, then see where we are, and then we can adjust.
I agree.
I think, you probably know, but I think like the election and holding someone were cut off one day on like the Mondays, long before the COVID. I think she just did it because she didn't want to pay them.
Rochelle did have an idea that all the branches could be closed on Monday because Monday is usually a slower day. So she wanted all branches to be closed on Mondays and be open Tuesdays through Saturdays. The branch managers didn't like that, and that's when we came up with those different hours in which Holden was open 2 hours on Monday, which I think we could all say that probably wouldn't work.
who wants to go to work for 2 hours?
Well, that's what the branch manager said they wanted. So that's why what I'm hearing is you want Namnoster open on Fridays, you want, and Mondays, and you want Lexington open on Mondays. And so,
But not short
okay,
hours. After you open on Monday, I don't want hours shortened.
right,
Okay,
right.
all right.
That I think if you would let Kyle and I work it through with the branch managers, that we could come up with a schedule and we'll make sure there's enough staffing and we can present it at next board meeting and let you see it and say, this is what we propose, and you guys can say yes or no. We could get the marketing in place by then. So when you say yes, we can go with the new hours.
You know, when the library was closed, the board wasn't approached by you. We just told, hey, this is where it's gonna be done. We would not, so why should you wait until the board meets? I think within 2 weeks, you should be able to open up the library the way they should be.
Because I thought the board would really like to see what we were proposing before we proposed it.
No,
I mean, before we changed it.
No,
the
I think
branch
you should go
managers
back the
have
way
the
they used to
authority
be.
to run their
We're saying-
library.
We're saying it should go back the way they used to be.
They follow policies.
Huh?
As long as they follow policies.
They're all reasonable people. I'll give them credit for that.
But some branch managers might just decide to be closed all next week.
Hmm?
Some branch managers might just say, we're just gonna be closed all next week.
There's the door. We're going to Florida.
Take a week off, because you're gonna get busy.
Some branch manager would be concerned that they might get fired if they
Exactly.
talked
That's
how
what
they,
happened
how
last
they
time.
really wanted it, they might get fired. Huh?
They shouldn't feel that way.
They shouldn't, but they
Oh, yeah.
do.
Shouldn't have to feel that way.
I mean,
They do, though.
But, Gloria, I agree, they shouldn't feel that way. And Tanya assured me that that was not the case. But notwithstanding, there are people in our libraries that feel like their job is threatened. Whether it's right or wrong, it's their feeling, and you can't tell them that their feeling is wrong. So, I mean, that feeling does exist. Whether it's right or wrong, it does exist.
Okay, so what should we do? Are we just gonna allow you to take care of it, or we need a motion? Have we voted on the motion?
But the motion I have is Ron McMullen moved to open the branches to the pre-COVID hours with administration working toward that, what did you say, Fern, that goal? Thank you. And I have
But I
Judy
don't-
Walter seconding that.
I don't think that's gonna open your branch up on Mondays.
Why won't it?
Is it open on Monday before?
But they always were, and that's why I was asking where to go, and COVID, but that, before that, there will be, the election will be open on Monday through Saturday.
And I think you've made that very clear that that's what we need to do.
You're very nice, I like you very well.
That's not what you said yesterday.
I always like you very well.
Oh, Judy. Right.
Very upset and things, since the tax dollars are going, okay.
I-
We need to vote on that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
But what's your timeline here? Next, I mean,
We
because
do
this is
not
gonna
have
make it like the
timeline.
1st of May or so, correct?
No, I'm thinking this can be figured out and worked out and procedures handled, because it'll be a change in procedures. And we get that and we can get everybody on board and then roll it out. And I don't see why we can't do that sometime in April.
when?
April?
Well, that's 2 weeks away, I think. you should-
Well, I'm not saying April 1st.
That's what he said.
I would still like the board to see it, to make sure we're going in the right direction, because I don't want you to turn around and say, well, no, that's not what we meant at all.
We were telling
Open the
you,
door without publicizing it.
Why don't you send this?
we only told them what direction to go.
You could just send out an email.
Haven't we?
I can do that.
We just add that at your discretion, an email at your discretion, and then when that, an idea. That way, I understand his concern about getting those people happy. Apparently he's had a lot of complaints about that. And it's
Well,
just an
and
opportunity for us to.
I do agree that branch managers should have some kind of, but we also need to take into consideration the public. The public was, because I'll be right honest with you, I've been in Holden 3 times on a Monday, and I go think, oh, I'll run by the library, and the library's closed on Monday. So,
Well, I know at Waverly, she said that they've had problems because students are wanting to come in and work on scholarship applications, and people are wanting to file taxes and stuff, and
they're closed.
they're closed.
The taxes are due the 15th of April, so we should have it done.
No, they changed it. We have till May 17th. The government changed it today. We have till May 17th.
They moved it to May 17th. Whatever, but
Okay, so
I can get it done before May 17th. I haven't done it in 4 years. I don't know.
Look, what I'm,
Making a big
what-
public relations thing out of it. You can-
what I'm very concerned about is I don't want you and Kyle threatening the librarian.
We won't.
Tell them that we are.
Yeah. Because I don't talk to my librarian anymore. I don't want her to be, I don't want anything to be involved with her. And since I'm on the board, I don't ever, but I just don't want you two then to threaten them, all the librarians, saying, hey, the board wanted this done, but we don't agree with it. And you tell me that you don't want to do it.
Well, last time they were told that this is what we said they had to do.
That's right. That's right. That's exactly what took place before, and the board voted to cut their names. Remember that? All right.
all right, so
Okay, thank you.
If I remember correctly, each branch manager and their staff, they were told they were gonna have to cut their hours. But then they were able to determine which day they would like to be closed and how they wanted their hours arranged. Because I remember Quarter changed theirs. They were open 2 hours less on Saturday and added it to Wednesday, and we're open until
Remember
7.
that.
But then, see, Quarter and Waverly's hours were not cut because they only have 30 hours a week anyway.
But see, Lexington, which I know you know, Lexington lost a librarian when they cut back the days. The days, they lost one because she's now working over here.
Mhm. And that was due to social distancing, because how Lexington is arranged. We had too many people in too small of a space. And so to get them to socially distance, we made an opportunity for the part-times to continue working and getting their hours, just not at that location.
Okay,
I trust
so why can't we do it this way? Why can't you approach the branch managers? We want each branch to be open X number of hours, spread over 6 days. Come up with your proposal. It shouldn't take that long. We can meet again as the board, just via telephone or computer, and say, yeah, we like these hours, let's go for it.
So you want to call a special meeting to,
Just for the purpose of,
okay.
what the,
As long as we advertise it and it's open to the public, we can do that.
right, yeah. No different than any other special meeting, but we won't have to come in here and meet, we can just do it via telephone.
And you and Kyle are gonna do what we're basically saying to do, and there won't be much to do on the phone, so we'll all agree. But if you do something opposite than what we've already talked about or what we've done previously going forward, then that's gonna be problems. Okay?
So
Are you gonna fire them?
I have a question here, from Laura Parent. Will we be sticking to the reduced hours that Rochelle imposed?
No.
Okay, I'm assuming she can hear us say no. All I
So
can do is
we're,
agree.
as I hear it, we're looking at hours.
As long as they could fulfill the hours with their staff. We should.
Yeah, staffing is gonna be an issue. So, I mean, that's an issue we need to look at and make sure.
Have to
So
look at that.
it may not be, we may be adding a few hours, we may be keeping some hours the same, depending on what their staffing is. But we'll look at that.
When some libraries have already lost, the librarian already lost a position, well, then they may have to have the opportunity to hire one back, because we got money, we're spending money other way.
Have to.
Huh?
We may have to.
Okay, that's supposed to be fun.
We may have to find other ways to cut the budget.
I still don't
That's
think.
right.
Well, we still got money in the budget. We still got some money in the budget. They just want to spend it anyway and every way.
Well, you
I still don't-
might, you might not.
I still don't think we have to have more than one person in the library
Well, I
at
agree.
all times.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, for the majority of the time, but I still think there's gonna be a time period where it's okay for
Policy that there
one
should be
person to
two.
do it.
It's not a policy, it's a safety, particularly in the evening. We try to give 2 people, particularly by the time it gets dark. But we do have during slow times in a day, we may have the, just one person working.
Whatever. We just see what happens.
Do we
We have to vote on this.
stop here to do the motions?
So we have,
I would say with pre-COVID hours now. Okay.
So I still have the motion being Ron McMullen moved to open the branches back to the pre-COVID hours and administration to work toward that goal. And then we can,
We're still the regular hours, right?
We don't know. That's what we're
Well,
saying.
that's what I-
But-
okay, I
but-
know.
I think the board has made it abundantly clear you want open hours on Mondays and Fridays.
Yeah, okay. All right.
And we're gonna work out with the branch managers, their staffing and the number of hours they're gonna be open to keep them open on Mondays and Fridays, definitely,
Good. All right.
okay?
And you're gonna come back to us around the 1st of April. We'll have a special meeting. You're gonna give us a proposal. You can send us out,
I'm gonna try.
you're gonna send us out the proposal in advance, email.
Sure,
And then we'll get together and say, yes, this is fine. No, this is not what we had in mind.
Okay. I'm gonna try to do it in 2 weeks. Well,
Kyle, you're being awful quiet.
no.
He left.
That's good.
Yes, I am.
Fair.
Let's vote on this.
I call for a vote.
Yeah, let's vote on it.
Let's vote on it. Kyle, was there anything you wanted to say?
Well, I know that whenever we discussed hours this morning at the managers meeting, there were some that had concerns about the pre-COVID hours, that they felt that some of the hours were not what they would have preferred. But if we are involving them in the discussion, then that should not be an issue.
They are the primary input.
Yes. And we're gonna vote on the hours, so they don't have a say in the hours.
I'll call for the vote.
Oh, okay. Allison Burton.
Yeah.
Fern Deathridge.
Yes.
Arlen Dillon.
Yes.
Lori Dodson.
Yes.
Ron McMullen.
Yes.
Judy Tyler.
Yes.
Judy Walter.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Scotty Walker.
Yes.
Okay, it passed 8 to 0.
Okay. Next up, and I hate to go much longer, so I'll try to keep this brief, but we need to have a interim director discussion. There needs to be a person who is in charge in the absence of a director. I would like to nominate Anita to be that person. I talked to her previously, and she said that she has some things she would like to talk about concerning that matter.
I
So-
second that nomination.
You've changed your mind now, right?
I do, my main thing is I want to know what the expectations are. As Assistant Director of HR and Facilities, I already have a 40-hour job. And if anybody has ever done HR, it alone is a 40-hour-a-week job. Is the board's expectation for me to do 2 full-time jobs? One is director, one is interim, and one is, in which I can't?
You're just the top of the totem pole. Temporarily, unless you put in.
Right.
What I don't want is, I don't want a situation where somebody says, well, this happened because Kyle said I could, or Anita said I could. I want one person to say, you said that you could do that.
Do you have anyone in your staff that can step up and help you?
My staff is my staff is 2 people, the courier and the facilities technician. Now, I don't know if Karen Churn would want to take some more responsibilities on. Her plate is full, particularly if we go to ADP. So that is my question. You know, the budget is looming. We need to have a preliminary, the very first start of a budget by next month, just for everyone to look at and start to get a feel for. I have done the budget in the past. I'm willing to do it again. It's just, I'm hoping the expectation is not that I also do the job of the director too, because I can't. I can do parts of it. I think I can do what Scotty is asking, but I don't want the board to come back to me and say, I don't like the decisions you've made, or you're making too many decisions, or you're not making enough decisions. So I guess what I'm really wanting is that I'd like to go into a contract situation so it's spelled out.
I think everybody's gonna be doing their regular jobs, and what this will come to is just if something unusual comes up that they need a decision.
And like she said.
Which happens daily. So, I don't wanna promise more than I can do.
I think what Fern's saying is right, though. I think that's kind of how it is for a temporary job anyway. I think you would be that go-to gal, and it might pull you away from your regular stuff. Maybe you can split it up some, I don't know, but I think that she's saying if you are like doing that, making decisions, because you know what decisions need to be made already.
And I think any concerns you might have, any problems, or like any large amount of money you're gonna expend, I think you need to talk to the president here before you do all that and see what he has to say and what he can do. Would that be okay? Right.
So,
But, yeah.
okay, let me ask you about the budget. So how does that all come together? Is that a one-person job or is that a collaborative effort?
That is a collaborative effort that Tanya had already starting in January. She asked all the branch managers what they would, what are the things they would like for their branch? Is it new chairs to replace old icky stained up chairs, or they want something special for programming? And so then they turn in those requests. She asks heads of departments, what do they see that their department needs over a year? And they have a long, not a long list, but they have their list of, these are the projects we see that we need to do, or we need to keep sustained, and what it costs. And then she starts just plugging those numbers in. Right now, income is going to be anybody's guess, because we won't know until it gets closer to June about what the actual income is going to be. But, we can get some ideas of capital projects, kind of what are those going to cost, and start pulling those information.
So would this not be appropriate to take a step back at least for a while? We're not going to be getting into any big projects. Budget's going to be bare bones based on last year's budget. And then when we get a new director, and hopefully it doesn't take, a long time, then the new director can more fill in that budget. We can work on a budget that is similar to last year's with the
Surprises.
no big expenditures unless there's something but if there was some unexpected thing, that would fall under our emergency clauses anyway, so.
True, because now we've already put the Knob Noster resurfacing their parking lot in for next year's budget. And we've also just put in ADP for next year's budget. So, those things would need to also be sure that they make those in.
We know we got a roof project coming up.
Yes,
The
the roof project.
But I would say that we don't need to be making any big commitments.
But we do have to pass a budget in June so that bills can be paid in July.
Right.
Normally we pass a draft budget, which is still kind of the bare bones, because we won't know what we can set our levy at. So we won't know exactly what our tax revenue is going to be until we get that from the state auditor. And that's why we don't pass a budget. The final budget doesn't get passed until the end of August.
Right.
And usually we have the August board meeting at the end of the month, the last week of the month, so that we can get that auditor's information in. So,
Okay, I think you could just take it over and within a month, if you really aren't happy, don't think you can do it, then you can just tell us and we can get someone else.
If you come in here bald.
Yeah.
if I come in whiter haired,
You're not as white as your mother.
not yet, but I'm getting there quick.
All right, let's vote on that.
But I want to know and be sure that the board supports me in this, as I may bring ideas or thoughts that you may not like. Not that we have to do what I want, but I do want to feel like at least I have support and that I don't get my head ripped off again.
Again, what do you mean again?
You still have all your hair.
It's thinner. It's thinner.
The way I feel,
I think
and it's just my feeling,
Right.
that you don't need to, back at this point, you don't need to bring in a bunch of new stuff. Just carry over what's been done.
Right, I have to see that what has already started gets finished. The RFID project, it's, almost to the finish line, make sure it gets finished. The capital projects, make sure the budget that we currently have stays, we don't have any overspending, right?
You may have to hire more staff.
Did have a carry.
I may have, that's a possibility.
I thought we had some carry.
That's never been explained.
Okay, let me explain carryover. You have,
Unexpended budget is what it is.
and it's extra tax revenue that we didn't know was coming in. So if we had guesstimated that Johnson and Lafayette County taxes were gonna be this much, but we got this much more goes into carryover for the next year.
So, no, wait. Are we talking carryover or unexpended budget?
We are talking carryover. Unexpended budget would be the budgets I chart, like building maintenance. I got $40,000 for a year for building maintenance. If I have $1,000 left over that I didn't spend, that's unexpended budget. That goes into carryover. So extra money from taxes, or if we got a huge gift, that would go to the foundation, so ignore that. But carryover is made up of extra money that comes in and budgeted money that doesn't get spent. Goes into carryover. Carryover for the next year, along with that year's taxes, then goes to fill in and pay for all the budget items and expenses. That's not the reserves. The reserves are sitting over here like a savings account. So when the board passes the budget, the carryover is broken down and it's in every line item of the budget, and that's how it gets approved to be spent, along with taxes and state aid, and if we get A&E money or grant money or anything like that. That all goes in.
Can we just safely say, if you want to think about this, you can, Anita. I mean, but I think we can safely say that we can operate on a skeleton budget. Hopefully we have a new director in a couple of months. But we can operate on a budget that's similar to last year's, prior to when we have to vote on it in June. And I don't, if you don't want to do it, I mean, I won't be mad. I mean, but I think we do need to have a point person.
And I agree with you, we need to have a point person, because clearly that didn't work the last time when we didn't have a point person. And that's why I don't want to get my head ripped off again. I also don't want to work 80 hours a week.
And I don't think that would be the
I think we
expectation.
should.
I don't think that would be the expectation.
We'll kick you out of here first.
So, so,
If necessary, we could get a part-time person to come in temporarily.
But I think we
she's
should just see what kind of trouble she had.
just-
Let's go
What
first.
she gets us into,
Huh?
what she gets us into.
Yeah, okay.
I think that this, to me, the solution is, I would like for you to be the point person. If something comes up that you are concerned about and you want to know, I will, you can call me up and I will say yes or no.
Yeah.
my first concern is the salary scale, which would go towards the budget,
Salary scale.
the salary scale. Because we have to up the salary scale to meet minimum wage. Every year, we have increased the starting out of our salary scale. So our salary scale is going up every year. Our salary scale is now bypassing people who are COLA'd. So I would like to look at the salary scale. And I know there is a committee on the finance committee on the board that we look at the salary scale and mend it.
Okay. We'll discuss that.
Okay, because that's Judy, and Carlin is on the, so if you three are willing to work with me on, getting this pulled together, so, because really your salary scale and your benefits are the first part of doing the budget. Because that's your biggest part of your budget.
The committee amenable to that?
So if I can't do this, it's okay if I tell you all and step back.
Okay, let's vote.
And you won't fire me.
Oh, dang it.
I don't want to be fired.
Yeah, I gotta get out of here.
I want to work here several more years.
I mean,
Vote on it.
I'm willing to help, and you just let me know what I can do to help.
As long as
But you, Judy, and Judy, we'd be willing to help her in whatever capacity she needs, just call us and let us know,
Okay?
all right? And I'm sure any of the board would.
Let me, if it's okay with you, I'm not going to say yes, I'm not going to accept it. Let me think it over, and I would like to have a conversation with Scotty.
Okay.
And, because if I think of other things I should have thought of tonight. And I will be honest, I was very surprised when Scotty asked me if I would consider doing this. So I want to think it over a little bit.
And let me know.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm going to adjourn.
You're gonna vote first.
We got to vote.
Well, she has to go to-
No, she's on.
I'm not gonna give you,
She wants to talk it over.
to say it was tabled.
So we're gonna go another month with nobody in charge?
Okay, you want to vote that if she accepts that the board approves?
Yeah,
Sure, why not, if we
she's
can.
our nominee anyhow.
Okay.
Well, okay. Who
For
made,
review,
wait, first off, who made the motion?
Scotty, I think, and I don't think.
Oh, okay, let's say
Scotty did. Scotty made a motion, I seconded.
Oh, I just nominated.
Nominate.
I made the motion and
I'll second it.
All right.
Ron moved. And Judy Walter seconded. Okay.
One more time.
Is there, Allison, is that you?
Yes, can you tell me what the motion was again?
what's the motion.
Ron McMullen moved to appoint Anita Love as, shall I say, interim director?
Yep.
Director, do we want to put an ending date like
We'll have to wait and see.
as interim, okay, as interim director? I want to say something about if she once she accepts the position.
For her exception.
Position just dissolves once a new director's hired.
Did you get that, Allison?
Okay, let me read it again. Ron McMullen moved to appoint Anita Love as interim director per her acceptance of the position. Judy Walter seconded. Is that right? Everybody?
Take a vote.
Okay. So are we ready to vote?
Yes.
Okay. Allison,
Yes.
Fern Deathridge, Carlin Dillon,
Yes.
Lori Dodson.
Yes.
Ron McMullen. Judy Tyler,
Yes.
Judy Walter,
Yes.
Scotty Walker.
Yeah.
Okay, we have 8 yeses and 0 nays.
Just let me know, Anita.
Okay,
All right. And whenever you want to talk, we can.
alrighty. I will be calling soon.
All right.
Are we done?
Yep.
Yes, I have Scotty Walker during the meeting at 9:22.
Thank you, folks.
I'm a crazy woman. I'm a crazy woman.